Okay, our committees. There they are, all the committees that they should have. Guys, they don't actually brief you on the roles of the committee. So you just need to understand that audit committee is for the assurance function. Nomination committee to nominate for election. Not to approve the nominations. Board approves nominations, shareholders then elect. Risk committee for risk governance. Remuneration committee for the remuneration policy that then needs to be approved by your board. Social and ethics for organizational ethics. Each of these committees must have at least 3. So that's new. Previously they only spoke about audit and risk. Now you can see all of them must have 3. And for all your committees, when you look at each of them, they ask you for specific disclosure. This is the disclosure. The role, the composition, focus areas, the number of meetings, and if they're satisfied that they fulfilled their responsibilities. So yeah, we can see the composition of them. So make sure you're comfortable with this. With regards to the chairman, we're talking here, the chairman of the committee, not of the board. Okay? Composition of the committee, we know that there should be at least 3 from the previous slide. So your audit, only independent non-executive, and you can see here, the CEO and the chairman cannot be members of the committee. It's the chairman of the board here that I'm referring to. He can't be on this committee at all. For your nomination, it's non-executives only, and the majority of those should be independent. So no executive directors on your nomination. Chairman of the board can be a member, but the CEO can't be because it's only non-executives. Your risk committee can have both executive and non-executive, but majority of those must be non-executive. We saw that as in a difference between King 3 and 4. The chairman of the board can be a member of the risk. So far, he just can't be a member of the audit committee. Your remuneration, only non-executives, and again, majority must be independent, so exactly the same composition as the nomination. Chairman can be, but CEO can't be. And again, why can't the CEO? Because he is an executive director. Social and Ethics Committee, both executive and non, but majority must be non-exec. So it's got the same composition as your Risk Committee. And the chairman can be a member of this board. They don't say anything about the CEO, so you could assume that the CEO can be. Then when we're looking at the chairman of the specific committee, what should he be? Audit. You could only have independent non-execs, and therefore obviously the chairman would have to be independent non-exec. For your nomination, the chairman can be the chairman of the board. They don't actually give you a criteria that he has to be an independent non-exec. So I know he has to be a non-exec, but he doesn't necessarily have to be independent. The risk committee, the chairman of the board can also be the chairman here. And otherwise, it would be anybody else, because they don't actually give me a criteria. The remuneration committee has to be an independent non-executive. Okay? And cannot be the chairman of the board. And social and ethics just cannot be the chairman of the board, so anybody else here would be fine. So those are your committee requirements, guys. Those all sit in paragraph 8. However, when I'm discussing the chairman of the board, you need to go and look at Principle 7. Okay, because that's where they summarize whether he can be a member or the chairman of any of the different committees. Audit committee is dealt with in addition to those committees, and they just say, the board is responsible for appointing the independent non-executive chairman of the audit committee. Each member must have the qualification and experience to be able to do their duties. Here are their duties. So because they have to be aware of the external auditors monitoring the external auditors' independence, see if they can do non-audit services, see how long they have been the audit firm and the partner has been the audit partner, because in terms of the Companies Act, you can only serve as 5 years and then rotation is required. They deal with significant matters with regards to the financial statements, so they have to have qualifications that can help them with finance and assessment of and reports on the effectiveness of your external and internal assurance. So external audits, internal audits, and anybody who is aligned with internal audit, like the chief audit executive, the CFO and finance function, and internal audit function. So they've got a significant report that the audit committee will have to put together here to make sure that they are comfortable with the combined assurance. Okay, let's quickly have a look at your committees so you can see them. It says that delegation can be given to your committees, but must be approved by the governing body, so the board has to approve this, and even if it is delegated, they are still going to be responsible. They then go into the composition of your committees, saying making sure that the people have the knowledge and roles to be able to do so, and there should also be a balanced distribution of your committees. So you shouldn't have all the same directors on the same committees, okay, on all your committees. You should actually monitor that. They must have the necessary skill and at least 3 members each. And then, just to note that even if the board delegates, they will still be responsible. Here's that disclosure paragraph that all committees need to disclose. And then they go into the audit committee itself. Okay, they're responsible for that assurance function, internal and external, making sure that they're working together, and the integrity of the financials. So they've got to have the necessary skills, all have to be independent, non-executive, and the board will appoint the chairman of that audit committee. There's the additional disclosure for the audit committee, so not only just the committee's disclosure, but everything with regards to external and internal assurance. And then they go into nomination. They are there for nominating governing body members, and all members should be non-exec, majority independent. Risk, they are responsible for oversight of risk and who the composition can be. Remuneration, responsible for the remuneration policy, who your members can be. Social and ethics, what they do and who the members can be. Performance evaluation. Guys, I'm going to do this really quickly because we've already discussed how every 2 years the governing body is responsible for evaluating the governing body, its committees, its chairman, and its individual members. However, annually, they have to test the CEO and the company secretary. And I've just made the note there that the lead is the lead in the chairman's evaluation. So paragraph or principle 9, there it is. Very small, nicely summarized. Everything I've highlighted is there.